Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We're gonna be talking about TikTok again. That app has taken over the internet, whether you want it to or not. Like, literally anywhere you look, no matter what platform you're on, you're going to see a TikTok, or you might even be able to see some being made out in the wild. Either way, TikTok is clearly the platform to be on right now in terms of the internet, and I feel like since it's such a new platform, a lot of people have been introduced to new communities. I don't mean that these communities are brand new along with TikTok, but just that TikTok has boosted them to a brand new audience of people. Like, for example, I was introduced to the acting community, the dancing community, and whatever the hell this is.
I have to take one for the team! No,
But we're not going to be talking about those communities today because I want to look more into one specific community that has quickly become one of the most controversial corners of the internet, which is the messy food community. I don't really know if that's the official name, but it's definitely the easiest way to describe it. Before we start today's video though, I did want to give a quick shout out to Casetify, who sponsored today's video. If you haven't heard of them before, they offer phone cases that aren't just cute, but also actually protect your phone. They're engineered with a 2-layer construction of G-Tech and are drop test approved for drops up to 6.6 feet, which I definitely need because I drop my phone at least 3 times a day. And in the past with other cases, I would always be afraid that my phone would crack or shatter because it's happened so many times before. But hopefully I have a video up right now. With a Casetify case, I could probably throw this thing off of my balcony and it would be perfectly fine. But the phone case itself is still super slim and cute, which I like because then it doesn't feel like I'm carrying around a bulky brick, but my phone's still protected. What's also cool is that their antimicrobial coating keeps your case germ-free and kills 99% of bacteria, and the cases are partially made of recycled plastic. They come in a ton of different designs too, and you can actually customize on top of that, so if you want to change the colors or add your name or initials, that's also an option as well. But I will say my favorite thing about them design-wise is that they have this featured artist collaboration section, and they've been collaborating with a lot of my favorite artists, like for example this space one. I'm such a big fan of this guy's work, and they just always turn out so cool and unique, and I have so many of them on my wish list. And even if you don't know the artist who's making the phone cases, like there's some of them that I know, there's a lot that I don't know, it's just like a cool way to like find their work too. So if you want to check out Casetify, maybe grab a case for yourself, you can go to casetify.com/caseyaonso to get 15% off of your order. Thanks again to Casetify for sponsoring. Now let's get into the video. Before we start talking about the community and how it's become so controversial, I do want to give a bit of an introduction because I'm sure some of you guys are watching this right now and are super confused. But the whole topic of food on TikTok is insanely popular. And I think that's mainly because there's just so many different ways you can post about it. Like you could do restaurant recommendations, recipe videos, food hacks that 9 times out of 10 do not work and make absolutely no sense. Or my personal favorite corner of food TikTok, which is just that mom who makes food for her kids. But on the complete opposite end of that, there's this weird, jarring, gross area of food content online that includes videos like these. I hate it. I don't want to watch this.
Why are you doing that?
The closest experience that I can think of that reminds me of what we just watched is picking up dog shit. The way she's touching everything too with her bare hands, like, you're not the peanut butter baby. Get a knife. The first time that I watched one of these videos, it immediately reminded me of those comedy TikToks where people will just waste a ridiculous amount of something for a gag. It's like how guys will waste food and be like, oh, this is how a girl acts on her period. But the more that I watched this video, the more that I realized I didn't actually know how the people who made the video wanted me to react to it. Like, it almost felt too serious to not be serious, but also too ridiculous to be a joke. All I know is I'm experiencing the 7 stages of rage and disgust. What is this? To make matters worse though, there's also one that involves ice cream punch and a toilet bowl.
Yeah, do it.
Just pop that in.
Wow.
All your sour candies. Some of these in here.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I may be dramatic right now, but this woman needs to be in jail. Yummy. I honestly at first did not see a lot of these videos online, but I noticed that after I saw one of them, the time in between the next style of that video going viral became shorter and shorter as the videos continued to get weirder and the conversations about them getting a lot louder. Because how could you not want to discuss this? Like, what exactly is going on here? This woman's either manhandling Wonder Bread or waterboarding her toilet bowl with ice cream. Sadly, I don't have an answer for those questions, but I can tell you the man who's behind a lot of this content, who, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, is a magician. No offense to any magicians who are watching this right now. I'm just saying, if somebody gave me a list of occupations and told me to choose who was most likely to put out content like this, I would have to go with magician. You guys just kind of have a deviousness to you. You're capable of it. Then again, aren't we all just one minor inconvenience away from smearing Nutella all over our countertops? I know I am. The magic man in question, though, is named Rick Lax, and he also happens to be a Facebook creator, which also makes sense. Literally nothing ever good comes from Facebook, let alone somebody who calls themselves a Facebook magician. But that's besides the point. The way this guy initially went viral was through prank-style videos and magic tricks and stuff like that, and he continues to make that content as well, which I think is really interesting because I feel like Facebook is the only platform where prank videos still do well, but it's still doing great. Like, here's this wedding one he did. So this is a 3-minute video, which is already a red flag because I don't really think any prank takes 3 minutes, but apparently her secret changes everything, so let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna speedrun this video for you guys because I'm not joking. 2 minutes and 50 seconds out of this 3-minute video are just her continuing to show these cards and not telling us what she's gonna tell us, which if she had gotten rid of all of that, this video would have been 5 seconds. Prank, bro! You got pranked! What are you gonna do about it? This may be one of those big brain pranks though, because maybe the prank wasn't the prank, but it was the fact that I actually just wasted 3 minutes of my life watching this. I do feel pranked. I definitely don't understand this content at all because I just feel like it's so obvious to the person watching that they're trying to drag out the gag as long as possible to get watch time, but it seems to be working for him. He's doing really well. He's got multiple pages with massive followings, and his own page has 14 million followers. But what's so interesting about Rick Lax isn't his level of popularity on Facebook, but what he's done with it, because he's created this almost MCU-like universe for messy food content that involves different pages and characters and people, and it's all centered around him. It's like this big factory of infuriatingly gross food content. And what's mental is that even though there's a ridiculous amount of these videos going viral and being pumped out all the time, if you actually look into it, almost every single one of them is tied to Rick Lax some way, somehow. Maybe it's one of his pages, or it's a page that he produces through his production company, Rick Lax Productions, or the person who's making it is one of his friends. Rick Lax has his hand in almost every single messy food video online right now. But I do want to note that he doesn't just do the messy food stuff. He still does a lot of his content that got him viral in the first place, like the prank content, the magic stuff, the odd inspirational video as well, but by far the best performing stuff is the messy food content. What's crazy to me though, beyond obviously the content itself, is that the people involved in it genuinely see it as entertainment, which I guess you could argue that if you're a masochist, but the whole putting a smile on people's faces thing. Have you read your comment section? Like I said earlier though, a lot of this content has been going viral on places like Twitter and TikTok, and when I first saw the videos, I initially thought this must be a TikTok creator because I just see a portrait style video and I immediately think that. But according to Rick Lax himself, he only posts his content on Facebook, which means any other platforms hosting it are just reposting it and stealing the content and possibly getting money off of it, or at the very least going viral off of his work. Which I think we can all agree sucks when your whole gig is pissing off the internet and having to deal with the brunt of that, and you know that you're not even collecting your whole bag. So I do feel bad for him a bit in that respect, but he also did go on to call himself and the people involved in the video chefs, which I think is a bit of a stretch, but I do agree with him in his whole belief on why his content keeps going viral, which is that the people watching it think that the people in those videos are actually going to eat the food afterwards. But in fairness to Rick Lax and the people that make those videos, they do put a disclaimer on the original posts. Like, for example, that ice cream one had this disclaimer on it that said, "Thanks so much for watching this video. Please note that this page features scripted dramas, parody hacks, parody, and satire." But that's a lot different than the version that went viral on Twitter. Not only was there no disclaimer, but they also trimmed the end of the video so it didn't show her handing out the drink to people at her party, which Some could argue that makes it clear it's a prank because the people at the party don't realize where the punch is coming from, but neither of those things were there. Whether it's a prank or not though, I don't really think that changes how wasteful and disgusting this content is, but it does make a lot of that discourse that happened on Twitter completely irrelevant because they didn't have the full context. I think what I love the most about this Rick Lax guy though, when it comes to how he describes the content that they make, is that he refuses to call it things like gross or weird, but when he said that he makes good videos, he backtracked and instead said, by good videos, I mean videos that perform well on social media. Which, at least he's aware of making garbage. Like, literally and figuratively, because who is eating that? So now we know the magic man who's behind this whole messy food scheme, but it takes a lot more than just somebody creating weird content for it to be going viral to the degree that it has been. Like, you need a lot of people engaging with it, which is exactly what's been happening. But why? It's gross. When I was trying to figure this out myself, there was actually a quote that really stuck out to me, and it just says that there's something innately compelling about watching someone execute a recipe, no matter how deranged it is. And I think that's completely true. Am I completely disgusted watching these videos? Of course I am, but I'm going to continue watching them because either I have no idea what's going to happen next because it just keeps getting more and more unhinged and I want to see what happens, or I have a rough idea of what might happen, but it feels so out of bounds that I want to keep watching to see if that's how it plays out. And that kind of content is king on social media right now because every platform cares about watch time. They don't care why you're watching for so long. They just care that you're watching. And if you add in the fact that this content is causing so many people to talk about it, that there's discussions happening on different platforms, that is a massive boost. It's mainly based on the fact that this content's completely insane, of course, but it doesn't matter. And obviously a lot of these discussions aren't people being like, wow, this is such insightful content. It's mainly just people being completely shocked, disgusted, and angry, which I will say that my favorite genre of criticism for this content is not on TikTok or Twitter, because you kind of know what you're getting there, but actually Facebook. Because there's just something very special about knowing that a hate comment is coming from like a 45-year-old woman who knows how to cook, does not really know how the internet works, but does know that she's very sick and tired of your shit. Like take Vicky for example. You were exhausting to watch with the theatrics and take so long to get to the point. Or Helen, who says, just took the pan out of the hot oven and carried with bare hands. Amazing! What a couple of twits. Our girl Alice is keeping it real, of course. That was the most annoying video I've ever seen. I do agree. And Lisa, who says, people have been making these for years. Pull your hair back. Nobody wants hair in anything you cook. Stop with the drama. I unironically love them. I do want to mention one other theory though that some people on Twitter had as to why this content's being made and also going viral in the first place, and that is that some people believe that this content is catering to a fetish. I don't know if I'm going to be mentioning the right fetish here because when I saw those tweets, it was the first time I'd ever heard of someone having that kind of fetish, but the closest thing that I could find was sploshing or splooshing, I think it's pronounced, and it's just the act of somebody just covering themselves in food. Obviously, there's no way for me to verify this because Rick Lax hasn't confirmed it, and I don't think anybody with this fetish would be screaming from the rooftops that that's the reason they like the content so much. But I don't think that people are wrong in noticing that the people in these videos seem to almost go out of their way to get as messy as possible, and sometimes give googly eyes to the peanut butter. Like, what are you doing? In all honesty though, when I went into making this video, I thought this was going to be a hell of a lot worse. Like, they are beating the living shit out of their kitchen countertops and their toilet systems, but I can close my eyes and pretend it's not there. You know? The sheer food waste is of course revolting, especially when you consider that this isn't a one-off thing, like this is a reoccurring style of content they keep going back to, but at the very least, they are labeling it as parody content. I know that's a ridiculously low bar, but in today's internet, at least they're doing that. We gotta celebrate the small wins here, but the trend as a whole does remind me a lot of past rage content fads, like when people would lick buckets of ice cream or toilet bowls, but I do think this content is slightly more sustainable because it's not illegal, and it also isn't a health risk. Unless you eat it. But I will say that this content and the success it's had makes me scared that there's going to be copycats in the future, or people who actually try to outdo this stuff, which is terrifying to think of because I can't imagine this shit getting any more unhinged. But I guess what we should take away from this whole experience is that there's an evil magician running around the internet with peanut butter all over his hands, and Facebook is the root of all evil. Surprise, surprise. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video though. If you did, feel free to toss it a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. You can also click the notification bell to be notified anytime I upload, or you can follow me outside of YouTube on Instagram and Twitter, which are both at caseyaonso, or you can watch me stream on Twitch, which I'm on a bit of a hiatus right now. We're gonna be back soon, but it's a lot of fun when we do stream, so if you want to join, feel free. But that's about it for me. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.